Today I want to show you, I got in a new printing proof with some different options. So, little timeline here. This was the original idea for the cover with the name at the top. Clean. This is a matte cover, matte finish. And I really like the way this feels. The matte looks really nice. But the book looked a little plain. It really didn't stand out like I wanted it to. So then I designed it with the artwork to have the weathered look. And I'll show you here. Here is on the iPad. This is the cover as it stands now. And so you can see it's got I moved the name to the bottom, moved the artwork up higher. The artwork kind of takes center stage, centered on the piece now. And I've got the torn edges, the battered, worn, old tomb look is the idea, a really old, worn out book. So that became the aesthetic I'm going with. Here's the second print. And this one, because it's not centered correctly with their template, there's not as much of the weathered edge as I want. So you can see some at the bottom. The back worked a lot better. You can see a lot more along the edges here. That looks really nice. This one's in gloss though, and I wanted to try that and see, do I like it better in gloss? It catches the light really well. It's shiny. You can see here. But I actually don't like the gloss. It just looks a little too nice and nude, a little too clean. So the solution, I decided I'm going to go with the matte with the weathered look. And here is the latest copy, final, rules final playtest document. This is the full book printed for playtesting purposes. And I still got to center it perfectly. Their template is really tricky, so I got this one a little closer to centered, but still not where I want it. So some of the edge is still cut off. It's still down a little too far. I can't get the bleed quite lined up like I'd like. And on the back as well, this one got pushed a little further the other way. And I've got the copy on the back here now. Let's see if it'll focus. So I've got this piece here with some information about the game. It's just a little sales paragraph. It says, Tomb Runners is a heroic low fantasy role-playing game blending OSR and modern rules-light narrative games into a system you can learn in 2 minutes. This game is about heroic deeds and classic dungeon crawl adventures featuring build your own classes, gameplay that revolves around creativity, and simple mechanics that reinforce it. Easy rules for downtime, crafting, reputation, magic, and more. And more than 100 tombs to adventure in, plunder, and hopefully escape. So that's the pitch. That's the what is this game if people pick up the book somewhere and want to look at it off of a table or shelf. I'll show you a little bit on the inside here. Let's see. The inside looks great. The inside template worked perfectly. It's exactly right with the edge having the weathered torn effect. It looks really nice. I'm not sure, maybe you can help me here, especially if you get a copy of the playtest, which I'll mention again. If you'd like to get a copy of the playtest document, send me a message on Blue Sky. It's Roll the Dice Games, or just search Tomb Runners on Blue Sky, or post below a comment about how I can get it to you. I can email you the PDF. It's a Google Drive link. But I am curious, do you think the font is too big? Let me find an example page. Okay, so here's the character creation page. We'll start here. I really wanted to stress the font being large, easily readable, and keeping the word count per page very low. That was very important to me, to keeping the game extremely rules light, very approachable, very simple. But on this A5 page, I fear that some of the text is too large. I know that's a weird thing, but do you think the font is too large? I think on the table on the left, I think is okay, but the table on the right, which is a good size, I think it's 2 sizes up in font, and it's a different font, which reads larger anyways. I do think it might be too large. It might look a little almost cartoony or a children's book, which isn't a bad thing. I would like this to be an all ages RPG for what it's worth, even though it's a game with violence and fantasy RPG tropes. There are monsters that are very, let's say, mean. But I did try to keep the art to a certain level. So here's a good example. This is the consequences page, and it's the most graphic art. But I did, where I placed it, you don't actually see. So I'll put it here in the frame. So there is violence depicted, but the actual impact of the sword on the character is off page. And that was by design. That piece does show like the sword slashing into the body, and I cropped it, or I placed it in the page where that's kind of minimized. Anything else that is showing bodily harm or violence is done so in a cartoony manner as much as possible. A lot of the pieces feature implied violence, like skeletons, skulls. This page has a skeleton, a corpse in the scene, but it is a cartoony skeleton for what that's worth. Let's see. This page is, a monster attacking the knight, but he's holding up his sword to block the attack. That kind of idea. So I do want it to fit the traditional fantasy RPG tropes, but be a little approachable. I'd like it to be something you can, let's say PG, rated PG or PG-13, whatever the difference there is. One other thing. So I did show you the main art that is the cover of the book, and I think that will remain the cover of the book from the great Bruno Prosecco. But I also got another piece from him just in today, and I think this might be the cover for the zine edition. So I'm going to, here, let's show you the art first. So the concept for this one, for the original piece, the concept was, a knight with a flaming sword in a cave, and despite the fact that he has a magic item and he's armored, he looks scared, and that there's goblin eyes peering from the darkness, and he knows he's in danger. And I think he absolutely nailed this piece. This is Bruno Prosecco. I love the tone of it, the expression of the character. I gave him a little, to nail the tone, I told him, maybe kind of Scooby-Doo-esque with his expression of showing fear and knowing he's in danger. So that really nails the tone of Tomb Runners, I think. But I also got this other piece, and the concept for this one was a gelatinous cube, but it's shown from an isometric view where it looks like the objects it swallowed are pips on a D6 die. So I think that's a fun concept. It's probably been done. I've seen gelatinous cube inspired dice, D6 dice sets. But here's the art piece. Here's what he gave back, and it is near perfect. And I want to share this with you here. So I absolutely love this piece. I put the Tomb Runners title in two-tone there in the light and the shadow. I think that looks really sick. I love the shaft of light coming through, illuminating some of the cube, while the other parts in shadow, showing the faces of the die differently, illuminating them. It's perfect. I love this piece. And so my thinking is, so the main book is going to be hardcover with all the content, with everything I write for Tomb Runners. But I'm also going to put out a zine edition that's going to be a lot cheaper because it's not going to be hardbound. It's not going to be a hardcover book. And it's just going to be the core rules. And it's going to be the core rules, the character creation, spells, equipment, and monsters. It's going to be everything you need to play the game. The hardcover edition is going to have 50 to 100 pages of extra content for the game, and that'll be in the form of one-page dungeons, or I'll call them tombs, one-page tombs with custom encounters. I'm going to have some guest writers doing some of these, and depending on stretch goals, it'll determine if we do 50 or 100 of them. So the idea is to have 50 or 100 unique one-page adventures that you can use as one-shots or string together for a campaign. And they'll all be scalable to your players' levels because of the D6 scaling system for the tier system for monsters. And every page will have a unique dungeon, a hook, like why you're going there, what's the threat, who's inhabiting it, a custom clock to keep the characters, on the clock, literally, keep the tension up. Bad things that'll happen if the clock fills up, like say there's a sorcerer casting a ritual to do something big. That could be a custom clock for the adventure. custom magic items for the adventure. So they'll get a unique piece of loot for going in there, that kind of idea. And then theoretically, the goal will be to have them interchangeable, each element from them. So if you really like the boss from this dungeon and the magic item from this other one, you can pick and pull from each of them and put them together to make your custom ones. So you'll have nearly unlimited custom dungeons just from flipping through the pages. So that's going to be the difference between the zine edition, which will be about 50-page zine, which is a good size zine, but it'll be, the stapled bound, throw in a bag, it weighs nothing, very simple production. And I think that'll have the Gelatinous Cube D6 artwork and cover. This will look really good. This piece will look really good on a black and white zine, as all the art in the book will, because it's all been designed to be black and white printed. So I think that'll be the zine edition. It'll be the core rules, the character creation, the GM section for monsters and dungeon making and all that. And then the full deluxe, we'll call it the deluxe edition, will be the hardcover book, somewhere around 150 to 200 pages, depending on stretch goal content, I guess what we'll say for now. And then the other thing is, I mentioned in the last video, I'm going to have, here's an idea of, like, this was the first proof I printed, and this is like, what's this look like as a zine? And obviously this is very early, before I had any design work, before I did any of the layout work and stuff, but just like, zine edition concept, DIY print, if you wanted to print your own kind of idea. But I did mention I want to do a small DM screen, the 3-panel kind of half-size horizontal layout DM screen. So the top tier pledge, the bottom pledge will be PDF, of course. You'll be able to get probably the zine edition PDF will be very affordable for folks. The deluxe edition PDF will be, a little bit more to get the extra content that we make with all the dungeons and stuff. Then you'll be able to get the zine edition physical, and the physical copies will all come with the PDFs, of course. And at the top end, somewhere in the middle, you'll get the hardcover deluxe edition. And on the top end, you'll be able to get the, excuse me. Yeah, I'm still getting over my sickness. At the top end, you'll be able to get the deluxe edition hardcover, the DM screen, the custom DM screen, the Dungeon Master's Deck 2nd edition, which I just got the new version ordered. So this is the old card. And the card front. The card front still looks mostly the same. I added a weathered effect and aesthetically changed it up to match the Tomb Runner's book. And then the back especially has been changed with art that matches. So this looks like a generic TCG card back, and that was the idea. But now I've got some great artwork that matches the Tomb Runner's art that's going to be on the back of the Dungeon Master's Deck cards. And every category in the deck will have a unique card back, a different piece of art to match that. And they have that weathered book look as well. So that top end will have the hardcover book. The top pledge will have the hardcover book, the DM screen, the Dungeon Master's Deck 2nd edition, which is 100 cards, actually 106 because this includes the wallet edition, 106 cards of all of the tables you would need to design, run, and improvise one-shot adventures, full RPG campaigns, everything. And maybe even a custom set of dice. So book, DM screen, deck, and dice. I think that's going to be the top-end pledge, and we'll figure out the pricing on that when we get some quotes. So that's about all for now. That's a big update on progress, production ideas, pledge ideas, everything like that. But the main thing I wanted to show today was just this artwork, because I'm just over the moon with it. Show it again because it's so good. That is just fantastic artwork. Seeing these, a couple of people have asked me, why do I keep getting physical copies printed before the book is final? And for me, it's a very important part of the process to have something physical and tangible. That's why I had this artwork was done before I did anything on the inside of the book, as far as design and layout. Before I started putting a template together for anything, you can see I have some blank pages. Most of this book, the first time I got it printed, was blank, and I used this as a working notebook that I was using to jot down additional ideas. You can see here some of my writing here. I was using the blank pages as a notebook and a journal for the design work when, just the core rules were in the front of the book and 75% of the book was empty. This latest edition is almost all full of actual, it's right at 60 pages of everything for the game. This is the full playtest complete beta document. I don't think I've shown this yet. I really like my treasure and magic items pages. So if you need to populate loot for your players, you roll. There's a type if you get supply, which is, coin, money, weapon, armor, potion, scroll, or gear. And those later 5 all have their own D6 table. So if you roll potion, then you roll on the potion table another D6. And you get a healing potion, a holy potion, arcane, elemental, necro, or nature. And those correspond to the spell list. So they can get elemental potion, and you go look at the spell list and you say, okay, it's a potion of frost power. So you throw that on something and it's going to explode and freeze it. Or for gear, they can get rations, which heal, rope, lockpick, oil, torch, or magic item. And if you roll magic item, then you go to the next page and there's a whole set of tables for magic items. What type of item, if it's a weapon or armor, a ring, a gauntlet, a cup, and then you roll on its powers, and then you roll if you want to add a curse to it. So I really love magic items that have something good and something bad. The curses are a lot of fun. Life drain, madness, aging, hex, sleep, or doom. So you can give someone a magic item that gives them the power of speed, and then also the curse of sleeping. So they use it, they go super fast, and then they pass out. With just 2d6 rolls, you get all of that flavor and all that creativity and inspiration. So that's the items and treasure tables. So that's why I really believe in having a physical thing when you're working on something. I'm a photographer and videographer by trade, and everything's digital these days, but I still shoot film. And with my photos, I heavily, heavily encourage people to get physical things printed, because there's nothing, looking at something on the screen is not the same as having something real in front of you and touching it and feeling it, especially when you get artwork commissioned and you see it on the page and you see it on the cover of the book and you made that and you worked with great people that made that with you. And you can see the end of the tunnel when you're in the design process. If I was just still staring at all this on a screen at the document in the publishing software, it would not feel as tangible, as real, and as possible. And also, these proofs are very affordable. I mean, I'm paying less than $10 a book to get this printed, which obviously is very cheap. Now, this is not final. I can't sell this. It's got this watermark all over it. But it is super helpful to have and to make you feel like you're really making progress and that you can do this. So that's why I get physical proofs done even early on in the process. That's why I started with my own printing, and then as soon as I was ready, I got some proofs printed up, and I will continue to do so at every step of the process here. And then at the end of the process, I can lay them all out and say, like, this was step by step. This is how I got better. This is the progress I made. This is how I improved things. This is what worked and what didn't. That's why, some of these are gloss, some of these are matte finish, and I can feel and see with my own eyes in person which one of these looks better at the table, which one of these makes the artwork look better, which one of these feels better. Glossy stands out better on a table. If people were walking by at a convention, it's going to catch eyes better. But when you pick it up, it's slick. It's a little too clean feeling. It's a little too it feels a little too modern, whereas the matte finish feels like an old book, and it's going to look like an old book, and that's the goal. So yeah, get proofs printed. Short synopsis of this video. Get awesome artwork done. Find cool people on Blue Sky, on Reddit, online, and go to the OSR subreddit. There's a lot of great artists on there. They share their creations if you're making a game in this genre. And reach out. I paid a very, very affordable fee for the piece here on the back of the book. And for all of my art, I made sure to make it clear to the artist, I don't want copyright. I want them to maintain ownership of the copyright. When I license my photography, the clients have to pay a lot more if they want to own the photos and be able to do anything they want with them. And to me, it was important that these artists, maintain ownership of their art. I'm just licensing it for use for Tomb Runners, and they can go on and sell it to someone else if they wanted to. They could, do whatever they want. All I can do is use it for Tomb Runners, and I think that's a very fair thing. And also, it keeps the arrangement affordable for me on that end. So that's all. I'm just rambling at this point. I haven't made a video in a few days. I'm getting over this sickness, so I just wanted to talk a lot, I guess. So thank you for joining again. If you want to get a copy of the playtest document, send me a message on Blue Sky or comment below a way I can contact you. I don't want to quite put out my email address publicly yet, but it's probably you could probably find it. If you look hard enough, you can email me and I will get it to you that way. Thanks. I'll talk to you soon when I have something else to share here. See ya.